here. I've been in the small animals kind of manager for just over a year now, so I was really kind of interested in the welfare of these animals because they're not thought about often as sentient beings. They're often seen as just like a toy for a child or a prize to be given away like at a fair or something like that. Each rabbit we have is a completely different personality and stuff, and a completely different care that they need and different kind of health issues going on and stuff, and so it's not kind of all the same for each one. Like it may look like when I'm cleaning that everyone is kind of getting the same treatment, but after the initial clean they all get their individual like medications, exercise. They're like rotated outside so they can go like and spend some time in the grass or like in their tunnels and things like that.
The DSPCA, as we have our name, Society for Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. We have our fantastic 32-acre site here. We obviously do a lot of work when it comes to rescues, which are, where the public will ring us up to come and rescue an animal. But we rely heavily on the public to let us know of these things. And our education program is really important because if we can educate to end cruelty, then hopefully eventually we will end up in a situation where we will have very little cases of cruelty or lost animals. We literally have animals coming in every minute of every day into the shelter here. They can be any sort of animal, from a dog, a cat, a wild bird, a fox, a hedgehog, or even some of the small fluffies or exotic animals. There are lots of cases, but typically what would happen is a member of the public would ring us up, tell us about, for example, a rabbit they have found hopping around in the park. Inspectors will go out, or that member of the public will actually manage to catch that animal. That animal is brought in here, it's seen by our vets, it'll be checked out for any diseases or any injuries. It's usually put into quarantine for a couple of days to make sure it's not carrying any diseases. And at that point we do a behavioural assessment. So we look to see, does the animal need any special handling? Does it need to go into foster care? Is it okay? Is it friendly enough? Is it nervous of people? When we've done those assessments, a lot of that will then depend on whether the animal will be put up for adoption, or is it actually a wild animal that needs to be released back into the wild. Once the animals come into the shelter then and we know that they are ready to be adopted, we start the adoption process, but they could be here for a couple of weeks until we find the right home for them.
Guinea pigs, most common would probably be bumblefoot is what we see, and it's a condition, an infection in the pads of their feet that happens when they live in their own waste for an extended period of time, and they basically get sores in their feet that then get infected. And then if that's not caught early enough, it can spread into their bones in their legs, and then there's no coming back from that. So yesterday, who's now up in surgery because she's a really bad infection, we don't know if she's gonna make it. What I say to people is, like, animals are not a right to have, they're a privilege to have, and if you can't give them what they need and deserve, then you shouldn't have one. So no matter how much you want a pet or how much your child wants a pet, you have to put the animal first because they don't have a say in what happens.
Our laws in Ireland are actually really, really good. So the laws we have, which means that you have to, if you have a certain number of animals and you're adopting them out or you're selling them, you must be registered under the Sale and Supply of Animals Act. And even our animal welfare laws are really good. So we're well protected to make sure that people rehome animals properly. We just need the public to notify us if they come across something that's not right.
They're all about survival, and so they tend to bounce back from things like situations of cruelty very quickly because they're just kind of living the moment and they're like, I need to survive now.
I really, really enjoy what I do. I love the fact that I'm helping people as much as I'm helping animals. Sometimes you see some stuff that's really not nice, and other times you get very sad because you see things that really you'd hope you hadn't seen. But at the end of the day, it's a rewarding job because you know everything you do and every way you try and help is doing something better for animals and also for people.